Yeah, warm welcome also from me. My name is Inken, and I'm very happy to be one of your hosts of the Lightwearer Collective. The Lightwearer Collective is your weekly sunshine. We are here to inspire you to, do inner self-care and practice meditation to just connect and be together before your week is starting. And we do this with an open heart. And we are so grateful for each and everyone joining us on this regular weekly base every Sunday at the same time. That makes it easy for you to keep that in mind. So, I am very grateful that the Lightwearer Collective has, over all these years, developed into a very safe space and a beautiful community. We are blessed with amazing people joining us on a regular base and also co-creating with us on a regular base. And so the speakers, the authors, the contributors have a huge variety and shine their light on us. And we as the core team, we are super grateful for each and every one of you. And today is a very special topic with a very special dear person that is a wonderful member since many years. She has such a beautiful soul light, and I appreciate her and her contribution to the Lightwearer Collective. You have melted into our space in such a unique way. And Marilyn, I really feel you have a lot to give, and I'm very grateful that you keep coming back to us and sharing your wisdom with us. I love the topic that you shared, the topic of abundance, because I feel we cannot have enough of that, and it's always great to have inspiration how to attract more abundance into our life. And I feel like personally that abundance can have a lot of faces. It's really like it's the friendships. Most people very often think in the first moment about money, but I feel it's so much more. It's the love, it's the friendships, it's the connection, it's the health. It's really it's a huge topic and a topic that deserves spotlight and deserves that we nourish it. So I'm really grateful that today you are here to inspire us how we can draw more abundance into our life. You are part of my abundance, Marilyn. Thank you
You.
very much for being here. We are ready to receive. I hand it over to you so you can introduce yourself and share a bit about your topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Inken. Am I still live? You can hear me. Hey, good.
All good.
Well, and you bring a really good point up, Inken, in that abundance is such a personal definition for each one of us. Some of us that are more analytical might lean to financial areas of abundance. Some of us that love nature especially would lean into those areas. And then as we grow and develop, we can bring other areas of abundance into our life. Um, and so I am going to end my talk by reading some of the things that members in this community told me about what abundance was to them. But I'm going to start off by telling you what abundance is to me. And so your definition of abundance may overlap with mine, but it may also have other meaning to you because based on your personality and based on your work on this earth in this life. So, awareness is being in touch with your surroundings and yourself and can help you find your own personal version of awareness. Having awareness is important to our truth and being true to ourselves. It can make a difference in how we see ourselves, but also how we see the world. That's kind of a big deal. By being aware, we can follow our path for our greatest good. We have options in life for living successfully. So, when we look at abundance, I want you to picture a triangle And because this is my talk today, I get to put abundance where I want it, and I want it at the top. And I want to put gratitude over here, and I want to put manifestation on this part of the triangle. So abundance can come to you on its own. Making and receiving and enjoying so much that you make it again to happen. So when awareness being that when that abundance comes to you, that you recognize it as abundance, you recognize it as something that you really like and are drawn to, and could maybe, if you're not already passionate about it, you could get passionate about it and bring more of that into your life. Gratitude is the connection because it's with gratitude that we allow ourselves to feel this incredible abundance in its full capacity. Now, manifestation differs, in my opinion, from abundance, in that manifestation is something you work towards, that you begin longing for, and then you figure out how to make it happen. And usually, depending on what that is, the more complicated it is or the bigger it is, you have short-term goals that add up and meet that long-term goal. And that's how and that's how a quick definition of manifestation is. And I know, Jen, you've taken classes on that. You could probably speak for an hour on it, but um, abundance comes with play. And, when I'm talking with people and when I'm talking with myself, I have to remind myself that play is so important for all of us. I mean, those of us that have had children, we really want our children to be happy and to play. And even as we get into adulthood, we still need to have that going for us. Because actually, I get some of my best intuitive messages when I'm playing, when I'm relaxed. I can hear better. And so we prioritize fun, and this shifts your energy. Life becomes more of an adventure. Creativity can help us find ways to play. Two examples of that for myself would be um, sometimes I do paint by numbers because it helps me to get in touch more with my feminine side. It slows me down. I have time to contemplate while I'm putting the colors on the canvas. These are not pieces of works that I'm going to frame and put in my home. Good for those who can do it. But that is simply giving myself that experience to enjoy that period of time that I'm painting. Um, and then here is my most recent abundance that kind of sprinkled off onto me was seeing this photo. And if you haven't, um, I'm sure you could get access to it, of Jenny and Incan and Wouter getting to meet for the first time in person. So, when we get together with people that are special to us and really have that close connection in person, it's not only an adrenaline rush, it's an endorphin rush. And sometimes getting back together with friends you haven't seen in a long time, maybe at a high school reunion, those are all wonderful ways to bring abundance into your life. So when we do these things, we're in flow of joy and the receiving of the abundance. And actually, Vivian, in her comment on what abundance was for her, she mentioned that being in the flow to receive was just such a great way to have abundance come into her life. Now, another person mentioned that they deposited money in the form of, depending on what the money situation is, an 88 or 888, which is a magical number that can bring abundance and luck into your life. It could also be $8.88, and that is a ritual that she does. So abundance is money, it's health, it's love to flow into our lives. And there are other ways abundance can be found. Allowing abundance into our life can be as simple as enjoying the wins. These moments when something you like a lot happens. And, I'm reminded of when I was in my 30s and I was in sales, and we worked very hard. We had really high uh, there were high expectations of us, and you would work and work and have very little come in from a particular company. But then you would get a bluebird, we called them, which would be a huge job where someone just contacted your company and said, we need this and this and this and this. And, you know, your first instinct is like, how in the world is this happening? Well, that's abundance too. And, there's times we can get taken surprised by those things, but we have to remember it counts. We deserve it. And so those were very happy times once you got over the shock of this really big job coming in. Now, another example could be a phone call from someone you haven't spoken to in a long time, something as simple as a phone call. A successful time of communicating and connecting. It could be returning from a walk somewhere beautiful in nature, or even watching a favorite movie that makes you feel good. One thing that I do to bring abundance in my life is I use music therapy. And every morning after I've had my coffee, I don't think I could ever live in a condo or a townhome because my music is so loud. And that's when I get up and start knocking things out in my house to get the day ready. And then after that, the boys jump in the car and I jump in the car and we go somewhere in nature and walk. So music therapy is also a tremendous way. It keeps you up to date with what's happening in the music area, with different artists. And I think that keeps you young. The message also came to me when I was preparing this talk that healing can happen even if it is not complete healing. Now, I don't know who needs that message, but someone here today does. And I love this message so much because with healing, sometimes we think we have to be, completely rid of something to be healed. And that's really not true. We can find healing, we can find improvement, we can find a better way of living to take care of ourselves as a way of healing. Rest, I preach a lot about because the science is behind it. It can help you be able to receive abundance. And I did have a toss and turn night the other day, and I woke up feeling not good, not ready to have anything come my way because I just was needing to get a nap. Those kind of days, we all have them, we get through them. But getting enough rest, when I talk to people that are waking up at 3 or 4 in the morning and not going back to sleep, we have a longer talk about the importance of rest. I have a little fun homework for you. So if you have a little pen and paper or just on your phone, you could use your notes. And I have 2 little things that might bring abundance into your life. So on September 7th and 8th, the moon turns fully red during the total lunar eclipse. And if you follow astrology, this is not the moon turning red as much as the lunar eclipse is a big deal. And so I would ask you to Google that and see where that's happening, when that's happening for your time zone, and if it would work out for your schedule to view that. Now, I believe I read it would be read for an hour. So that gives you a pretty good period of time to, if it's feasible for your time zone as to when it's happening. The other little note you might want to make is to read some of Mary Oliver's poetry. She is no longer with us, but she is a current poet. I want to say she may have passed 3 years ago, and her poetry is very famous. And it is about the natural world. She loved nature, and nature talked to her so much. So she has captured it in some beautiful poems. If you do social media, you could easily find her page and follow it, and her poetry would come up. Again, her name is Mary Oliver, Oliver. And that would be a nice way to bring abundance into your life. And then I have kind of a funny thing. I was listening to a comedian, and my spirit world was saying, you need to include this. And I couldn't find who the comedian was, but he's saying he was, he's a 40-ish guy, not that it matters, but he's saying he was sitting in a cafe having a coffee, and there were two women at a table next to him talking and talking and talking about Daniel in Spain. And of course, this is not a real person, by the way. This is part of his routine. And they were so worried about him, and the talk went on for some time. And so the laugh line on this is that later in the day, he was so worried about Daniel that his wife thought he was planning dinner. So the conclusion of all this is it's easier to talk about negativity, but it's so much better for us to talk about positivity. And of course, when you're working through something and you're trying to find answers, that's different. That's kind of a growth way of dealing with things. I'm not referring to that. But it's pretty, depending on where you live, it can be pretty acceptable to be really negative or to just him and haw. And so, as light warriors, I know I'm preaching to the choir here on this because I know this group, but it's just kind of a fun thing to be reminded of and to pat yourself on the back if you're already doing it. So, here are my quotes, and I apologize if I have not been able to include you, but I didn't want to go too long. And of course, it looks like we're doing great on time because I'm talking quickly. But so try Narani, am I saying that last name right? Incan.
Come again. I didn't get the full name. What?
Try her last name, Norini.
Yeah, that's fine.
Did I say it good?
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
think.
want to badger her name. I don't want to badger Try's name. I really enjoy Try. I follow her on social media. And she has just such a beautiful, peaceful way of unfolding the truth. So here is what she said in regards to abundance. I believe abundance is the natural flow of life. So to bring abundance to our lives is we simply can do it by coming back to our true selves, which is love. When we live from the place of love, parentheses, joy, gratitude, and service, and so on, in parentheses, abundance naturally comes to our lives. And Jenny, I'm glad you're here, Jenny, because is it possible for you to show that photo of carrots, or is that too tricky at the last minute?
I can
And if
find
not,
it.
it's a,
I can find it and drop it in the chat.
oh, good. I love it. Okay, so everybody keep your chat open. So Jenny sent me her idea. And actually, Jenny, once you get that posted, anyway, so I loved her example, which I want to share with you, and that is about a carrot story. So you're going to see a picture of carrots come into the chat, and that little things are just as important as big things, which is so valuable. And she had gone and was working with this grocer. She was looking for organic carrots. And Jenny and I have that in common. We really like to eat healthy. And what could be better for us than carrots? So she had found a bag, and typically they have 5 carrots in them. And then she spoke with a grocer, and he said, "Let me see what I can do for you." And so he came back and he gave her at least 2.5 times the amount. And Trent, I consolidated a bit, but I really love the meat of what he said, which was recognizing what you have at your true infinite your true infinite nature of being. Recognizing what you have and your true infinite nature of being. Then through intention, attention, and focus, amplifying that vibration within yourself to experience the abundant portion of creation. Now, wonderful Incan sent me photos in answer to her question of what is abundance. And so she sent me a beautiful photo of a landscape countryside. So she gets to enjoy that beautiful view. And she loves nature, of course. Then a picture of her and her husband and son, and then her community. And of course, I think the friends she's made in this group and knowing Incan outside of this group, that those are the ways she's bringing abundance into her life. Wouter did a great answer, which parallels what I do, which is daily gratitude journal. I do that as well, and I have so many journals, and I'm not ready to part with them yet. So I often joke, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, she was very famous, of course, and worldwide famous. And no book was ever written about her because she burned all her journals before she died. So I always jokingly say, before I die, I'm going to burn all these journals and have a bonfire. But my dogs are playing with toys. I'm sure you're aware of that. So anyway, that's a great way to have your third eye opened, is through journaling and to get better intuition. Yes, I hear you, Sage. And then Wouter also said, acknowledging the idiosyncrasies that I'm blessed with. Not yeah, he did idiosyncrasies. Okay, that I'm blessed with. Consider challenges to be a blessing in disguise, the random people I meet on the way, and I exchange eye contact with and hide with. Thank you so much. Okay, go away. And my abundance comes with my poodles a lot. So now I'd like to draw a card. Shh. He's trying to get me to throw this toy. So I have this, I'm not sure, never mind, it's not important. I have this deck, and I'm just going to ask for you to bring a card to us to help us with abundance for this next week. Okay. Almost there. Okay, so void, VOID, came up. The void is the greatest nothingness or no thingness, devoid of light, energy, matter, substance, feeling, or movement. Nonetheless, as the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the void contains all possibility. It cannot be defined, but each of us can and should try to come to terms with the concept of the void and explore our relationship with it. The mystical traditions recommend this kind of exploration as a way of attaining the advanced state of being called full emptiness. If you pulled this card, it may be time to face the fear of uncertainty and embrace the unknown. Examine and re-examine everything you have known to be true up to this point and be prepared to let it go. Full emptiness is an ever new beginning that brings unexpected gifts. The recommended practice for this week is twofold. Begin with a brief clearing of the body with sacred dance, unwinding, or the Qigong practice of shaking. Once you have done this for 5 to 10 minutes, focus on your breath for the next 5 minutes, attending to the pause after the exhale before the inhale. Then lie on your back, slow your breathing, and try to extend the pause. It is in the space between the out-breath and in-breath that you can experience the void. Learn to be comfortable with it. Continue to slow the breath and extend this space for as long as you can. You are being breathed. No effort required. So I think this really ties into what we've been talking about, in that with abundance, effort is really not required. It is, I kind of like the way, I know religious can hit people in different ways, but in the sense of those teachings of love and grace being something that you deserve and that you're given without having to earn it. And I think abundance is that same principle. And also to look at a void and then look at what you have, and to be able to compare those two things is a wonderful way to really let you see what you can be grateful for. Because there are times we go through where we are surviving. And even in a time of survival, these can be beneficial because it's those little things of gratitude, those little nice salutations we get from complete strangers that we pass in our day-to-day goings and comings that can keep us going. I've been through a time like that, so I speak from experience. So that brings us to the conclusion